our Cracker Barrel, gamification. If you build it, will they learn? Today we're going to talk about gamification and various techniques. Right, Mike?
That's right, Walter.
All right. Well, I'm Walter Schirmacher. I'm from Innovative Learning Group, which is a hip happening company here in Royal Oak, Michigan. And I've been a programmer here and in various places for about 16 years, and I've been involved in board games and gaming and education for about 10 or 12 years now.
And my name's Mike Blahnik. I work here at Innovative Learning Group with Walter. I've been here about 2 years, and I come from the graduate program at Western Michigan University, so I have a behavioral background, which has been helping me win at games ever since I graduated. So, to start off, I think it makes sense to start with a definition. So here at Innovative Learning Group, a definition of gamification that we like is a business strategy that uses game mechanics and game techniques in non-game situations to drive user behavior.
Oh, that's right, Mike. So today, you may notice we have our Monopoly board out here. And besides being a favorite game of mine, and I'm sure yours, we're going to use Monopoly today as an example to help us explain the various techniques of gamification. So, thinking about Monopoly, and I think we've all played Monopoly, right?
Yeah, that's
played
right.
Monopoly?
Oh, I've tried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never played well, but I've tried.
Your board survived Monopoly?
I'm on my third board, I would say.
Third board, okay. Well, let's take a look at Monopoly and use this as an example to help us understand gamification. So the first one is lottery. So lottery and chance. Let's see what that is. The lottery and chance is a game dynamic in which the winner is determined solely by chance, creating a high level of anticipation. So an example would be rolling the dice. Hey, I got a 2. I moved 2 spaces.
Oh look, you landed on community chest.
I did. Hey, and there's another lottery chance thing. Oh, look, I get a Christmas fund, which collect $100. So that's another example of chance.
You lucky dog.
And you may notice my car is moving backwards. A strategy you can use in games is, to irritate the other players. And when I was growing up, I always had my car drive backwards because it irritated my sisters. So,
well played.
Irritation isn't really a gamification technique, but it's an idea. All right, so another gamification technique is reward schedule. So if I'm going around and I pass go, I get
$200.
$200. So I get $200. That is actually a reward. Okay. Another kind of reward would be rent. So if you land on Park Place and I've got 4 houses there, you owe me money. You owe me rent. So I get a reward for that. So that's another kind of reward. Third item would be achievements, which are like virtual or representations of having accomplished things. So an achievement example could be, let's say properties. So if I have a whole bunch of properties and Mike's got Oriental Avenue, which is mortgaged, obviously I'm achieving higher than Mike is right now. Okay. Another bit of achievement would be houses and hotels. So you can see I've got a hotel right here, and I've got these 4 houses. Obviously I'm doing pretty well, and your Oriental Avenue is looking sad with no houses. Mm-hmm. So obviously my achievement's doing pretty well there. Another item we call levels. And levels are a system or ramp by which players are rewarded for increasing value for points. That sounds complicated. Really what it is it's things like money. Hey look, I've got a whole stack of money, I'm rewarded, I'm doing pretty well. Another item would be properties. If I get a certain color of properties, I get all the green ones, hey now I can buy a house and eventually I can buy a hotel. Those are levels. Finally, we have a 5th example, which would be community collaboration, which would be people working together. And so an example would be if you and another person were working on the game and I've got lots of properties and money and stuff, and you say, hey, we better gang up on Walter. So you work together to try and take me down. That's community collaboration. So that's just 5 examples of game techniques, and we have a whole document on this which you can get off of our website, which we'll give you links on at the end of this session. So, Mike, you want to tell us a little bit about feedback?
Yeah, so thanks first of all for those pointing out those techniques, Walter. One that I think is pretty prevalent in Monopoly and seen a lot in gamification in general is that of feedback, the underlying principle of feedback. And so you can imagine if you are creating a gamified environment, you want people to come back again and again to do better and better. One of the ways to help drive that is to incorporate feedback loops. So here in Monopoly, one of the feedback loops that we have at our disposal, is simply how am I doing? If Walter's racking up properties and I've got Oriental Ave and it's mortgaged and I have no money and Walter's got the entire bank, The internal feedback loop is telling me that I'm not doing very well, and I'm probably going to lose to Walter. Another internal feedback loop that's present that Walter touched on a little bit, but I'm going to look at a little bit differently, is the collaboration aspect. Generally, if you're winning at Monopoly, no one wants to trade with you, and they're more interested in trading with the other peers that are more at their own level so they can try and catch you. So I might look at the person across the table from me, and she's got Connecticut and a couple of other properties, and I would say, you know, I would normally never do this, but I have no chance of catching Walter. Why don't I give you Oriental Avenue for 20 bucks and we call it a deal? She'll say yes. She has a little bit better chance of catching Walter, admittedly, not that great of a chance, but that's one sort of internal feedback loop. Walter, you know you're doing pretty well if you're getting shunned around the table whenever you try and make trades.
That's true.
The ultimate feedback loop, of course, is the external feedback loop. In the case of Monopoly, simply did I win, or was I the guy who got frustrated about 3 hours in and kicked the board off the table and threw the pieces everywhere and started burning the money?
Is that why you've gone through 3 Monopoly boards so far?
That's why I have actually demoted all the way down to the cards. I don't even play the board game anymore, we play the card game.
All right.
So, that's a little bit about what's going on in terms of feedback. Now to bring this back a little bit to a performance improvement focus, I'd like to talk a little bit about the places where we're seeing gamification incorporated. We're seeing a lot, as I mentioned, in innovation processes, places where you want people to come back again and again and again to try and rediscover new ways of doing things to continually improve. We're also seeing some adoption in traditional performance improvement initiatives, although sometimes the cost of creating a full-scale custom gamified environment is simply cost prohibitive for the impact that training or the performance improvement initiative might make. So what we've kind of developed here at ILG is a mindset that you can take parts and pieces or individual game techniques to gamify certain aspects of your performance improvement initiative to drive user behavior on that learning objective specifically. But Walter, before we get into all that, how do we even know gamification is the right thing to do?
Well, you know, we got to think about, does it support the learning objective? Because if it's not supporting the learning objective, then you're just doing it just because it's cool. Mm-hmm. Another thing is it going to match the organizational culture? I mean, certain cultures will adapt this really well and say, hey, this is cool, let's use some of these techniques, and others are going to take a little longer to pull into it. Mm-hmm. And third, when it's appropriate to drive the user behavior, like for learning, marketing, role performance, and that kind of thing.
Okay, so you're seeing gamification is used a lot more frequently in discovery-oriented processes rather than processes with discrete ends. If the goal of your training is simply to have someone check off a box at the end of the program saying that they completed it, they passed the assessment, a full-scale gamification is probably not worth the investment. If you need people to come back again and again to continually improve on products or processes, that's a situation where gamification might make more sense.
That's true.
So, to summarize, what you should probably do is take a look at your learning objectives and ask yourself if gamification makes sense to achieve those learning objectives. If you think it might, or you might be able to use individual game techniques instead of creating a full gamified environment, I recommend that you try it out and just try a few. Like we have a whole list here that you can get at our website.
And if you'd like to learn more about gamification, feel free to check out the resources at the end of this document. And if you have any questions, contact Mike or I. Our contact information is at the end and is available from our website.